What is going on Reddit? Okay, so this is the first of 3 videos that I will be posting. Have one for the Speedplate 2.0s that I'm currently working on. I've got the unboxing, initial impressions part filmed. Now I'll be skating twice this week, so once that's done, finish up that video. Pacific Ring player bag. Got that pretty much good to go, and then this is the gear hacks video. So I've filmed this video about 4 times, and I came to realize once I was trying to upload it to the computer that I suck at editing and I don't know how to do it. So we're going to try and knock this out in one take. That's going to suck. It's going to be awkward, but we'll get to it. Alright, so this is the gear hacks video. Let me first start off by saying these aren't necessary. Obviously, they're just kind of modifications that I've made in my equipment to make things a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier. I'll go through it piece by piece, starting with putting lace locks on my Nexuses for people with foot pain or having trouble keeping laces tight. I've got one on the shin guards, one on the pants, one on the elbows, and then the biggie that the best one that I've kind of come across is the helmet hack for really heavy sweaters. This has solved it top to bottom. Alright, let's get into it. So, first, looking at the skates. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with CCM and Reebok lace locks, let's see if you can get a little closer here. Alright. So this is what a lace lock looks like, actually not anchored down. This is one that's in the skate, ready to go. It's tied in. Pop that open. So the main draw for this is I've seen a lot of posts, people asking how to keep laces tight and or how to tie skates with foot pain or whatever that may be. This is the best solution that I've found. I've seen people use wax laces. Even when I use wax laces, it didn't completely solve the problem. So my problem was that you can see these marks here, if I tightened any of these 3 eyelets, pretty much anything more than pulling out the slack, I would get really bad foot pain. Now, come to find out, I was in the wrong size skate. I've got good size skate, or skates that are sized right, but this is just what I used temporarily to fix that issue until I could get the right size skates. So, what the purpose of these are is you can keep the tension on the lower eyelets, or the eyelets below the lace locks, at any tension you want. You can really crank them down, get them tight. You can leave them loose, just kind of pulling the slack out. So what you do is essentially you get that section that you're trying to go for, get it to the tightness you're looking for, and then the laces are actually threaded through this lace lock. And what you do, get it to a tension you like, kind of hold it there. Now I'll go into a little bit details of the lace locks in a second. But what you do is then, if you can hear it, you actually pull the skate lace in, and it locks the skate lace. It's got a D-ring and a little edge on the inside that it's locking onto. It grips the lace. This works really well on wax laces. Those things won't move at all. But let's see if you can hear it. So if you can hear that, that's the actual lace lock grabbing and then releasing. And then once you have that locked in, you can really crank down these top eyelets or whatever, and it keeps that tension separated. You have the tight tension on the top 3, so you can get that heel and ankle lock. Then you have the loose tension of the, I guess, lack of tension on the bottom eyelets, so you can still get that comfort aspect. Now, what you need to do to install these, super simple. Let's see if we can get a bit closer up on here. This is the lace lock itself. This is that locking motion that I was talking about. As you can tell here, it's got the lace sandwiched in between this D-ring and the body of the lace lock. There you go. You're going to, I bought these off eBay 2 pairs. One pair was about $9.99. You can get them at a lot of skate shops. They have them. Apparently, you guys have told me, I'm in Northwest Florida, so there aren't any skate shops around. Skate repair shops, anything. A lot of skate shops will have these just kind of laying around if they repair skates. You can get them usually for free. So you're going to need the lace locks, obviously, the screws that come with the lace locks, and then a T-bolt nut, T-nut. Yeah, T-nut. Now, where you get these T-nuts, these come out of hockey helmets, football helmets. A lot of helmets is kind of the most common place I've seen them. Like if you put like a face cage on like a batter's helmet in baseball, or these are sometimes used to hold down the kind of what is strip-ins or strap-ins, whatever you call them, to keep the cage buttoned up, or a couple different places. So I got mine in this. It's the Shut Ultimate Footwear hardware pack. Like I said, Northeast Florida, really tough to find anything hockey related, so I kind of had to. I found them in those works. I'm pretty sure they're in the A&R hockey helmet hardware pack, so you can get those in there. So it's a really simple process to install them. So you would unlace all the way down, well, really up until the lace below you want to put them in. Then you get the T-nut, pop it in through the eyelet, right? Now the good thing about this T-nut is you're not going to be able to tell. I have pictures, but the nut is right there. Yeah, there's no way you're seeing that. Oh well. Oh, maybe that helps. So the nut is right here, and as you can tell, it's actually sitting flush with the liner. So it's, oh, that dropped out. There you go. And because it's sitting flush with the liner, it's not going to cut into the skate tongue. It's not going to stick out, cut into your foot. As long as you have the lace lock tightened down, it's going to keep that pressure on the inside of the skate, so it's not going to pop out. So what you do is push the T-nut through. Keep pressure on the back of it just so it stays out of the eyelet. As some of you can tell, let's turn to the side a little bit. There's a little bit of this sticking out through the eyelet. That's good because the hole for the screw on the eyelet is actually a little bigger than the screw, so it fits perfectly right in place. Put it right on top. Take the screw and then screw that in. We're just going to hand tighten it here for demonstration purposes. Now, one thing I do recommend if you do this is put some Loctite on the screw so it really sets in there good. So that's in there. Then what you're going to do is relace the skate like normal. And then once it's in, oh, that's not what I wanted to happen. Got a little bit too excited. So once it's in, as you can tell, it'll pop out. Lock it in. That lace isn't going anywhere. So that is the hack for keeping your skates tight, putting a little bit, or keeping that pressure distributed well on the skates. Now we're going to go to the shins. So I have a pair of Reebok 7Ks, and these things are fantastic. I love these things, but I will tell you my main issue with them is, we'll see if we can get the demonstration going. So when I was wearing these are fairly big shoulder pads. They're real deep, so it's got a good amount of wrap around the ankle. So when this is going to be tough. Okay, so when I would wear, obviously, skates and shins, the edge of this pad came down to about like a rounded 90-degree angle, kind of around this point. You can see where my cutout is. That's the hack, essentially. So let's get a little closer. So the reason I cut this out is because when you put it on, that cutout pretty much seats right at the edge of the skate. Because when I would put I wear shin guards on top of the tongue, and when I would put my shin guards on, I like 16-inch. I'm kind of in between 15 and 16, so I like a little bit more protection on the 16s. So when I put these on, as you can tell, that shell would always rub against the top eyelet of the skate. And especially when I was skating and striding, it would kind of rub on, you would hear it kind of click and snap off one another, and it just got really annoying. It wasn't, there was nothing quote-unquote wrong with it, it just really got really annoying to me. So what I did was I actually super glued these seams and then cut out this corner. I did it on both sides. Now you'll notice that I cut the liner on this side, and I'll tell you why I did that in a second. So, cut out this corner, super glued these seams. Now the reason I super glued these seams is because I cut probably 4 or 5 kind of these small little sections out with this seam, and I didn't want it to unravel here, go up the skate, and the skate essentially fall apart. So, now, and the reason I did that is because on both sides, now it fits over the top eyelet, and when I'm skating, you can tell that it's not contacting the skate. Super, convenient. I'm not getting that clicking noise. I can feel it. I'm not getting that anymore. Then I did this all with a Dremel. It's very easy. If you know what you're doing, make sure to wear your safety glasses, all that kind of ish. And this side was essentially the same thing. Cut the corner off, and the liner, or the calf wrap on the inside, extended down, kind of the same principle. The only reason I cut that is because once I cut that, the top eyelet of the skate would, like it's on this side, it would push it out, and it just got annoying and it looked stupid. So I cut the liner and then sewed it just to close it up. No big deal, to prevent any fraying. So that's the biggest thing I have for shin guards, is if you're getting rubbing on the top eyelets between the shins and the skates, my recommendation would be to cut the corners off. Very simple. Alright, this one's going to be quick. This is pants. Me, I'm fat, I got a beer belly. So, my old pants, this was the belly guard. Super soft, super flimsy. I can do this, no big deal. I got some new pants, and this is the belly guard. It's a little bit more structurally sound. It can still bend, but it's a little bit more tougher. It's a little bit more protective. And when I would put the pants on, the belly would hang over a little bit, and it would push the top of the belly guard out. It probably extended up to about there. So it would push the belly guard out, which would stick out of the jersey, and I just didn't like how it looked. It kind of felt uncomfortable. So what I did was I put the pants on, put a little mark across it where that the belly guard really starts to bend, and then, very simple, I just cut it off, and then I super glued a piece of cloth over the top and then stitched it close. And then now the belly kind of starts to flop just on top of that. It's a little bit more comfortable. It doesn't stick out of the jersey. Looks a little bit better. That's really easy to do. Doesn't really require a whole lot of work, and it's a little bit more comfortable to me. Next this is another very, very easy one. Elbows. I like to buy, these are my APX 2s. Probably went through 6 different elbow pads to find a pair that I actually liked. And these were used. I actually like buying used equipment off Sideline Swap because, it's already broken in. As long as you find it in good, you can find amazing gear in good condition for half the price. So I found these elbows, and I love the way they fit, but the only thing was this Y strap was always loose because, let's see. So as you can tell, there's the female part, there's a female end of Velcro here. And with this Y strap, when I would put it on and I wanted to get it tight, now it's used so it's stretched out a little bit. When I wanted to get it tight, you could tell it's not catching a whole lot. Then when I would do that, or if I really put it down to the back, it's still coming off, it's still coming up. So it got super annoying, especially putting the jersey on. It would grab it, usually pull it off the Velcro. So what I did was I went to Hobby Lobby, I think, and bought some Velcro. and then got the cut out pieces of the female into the Velcro and just added them to the outside of this section here that comes stock. So I've seen a couple guys wear these Y straps different ways, up on the elbow, down across the forearm. I like it down across the forearm because it locks it in a little bit better. But you can see with this added Velcro here, this is the female end, I can really tighten this down, and you're probably, that's the piece of the male end of the Velcro. I'm only getting pretty much from here up grip on the original, but on the added Velcro I have, this whole thing is gripping, so it's not gonna get pulled by the jersey. I'm still getting a tight fit across there, and it's still very mobile. You know, that's a $3 modification that I do just to keep elbows tight, because I hate when they shift. So that's a little simple thing you can do. I just gorilla glued them straight to the shell, just around that stock area of the female end of the Velcro. Alright, let's see. Now we are on to the biggie, helmet. Okay, so first off, a couple things here. We are a little crooked. I don't know how long that's bothered y'all, and if it has, I apologize. Still crooked. Come on. This is amateur hour. I would like to say I'm not a professional. Alright, so this is my helmet. It's a Mission Inhaler. Now, the reason I bought this helmet is I sweat an absurd amount. Just ridiculous. And, you know, I've had the CCM V08, a Pro Stock helmet. Let's see, a Bauer helmet, IMS5, that's right. A couple others. Just everything seemed to be so hot and would just trap heat inside because there wasn't much ventilation. The good thing about this helmet, it was designed for inline, but it's actually certified for ice use. And you can tell here, few in front, this thing has just an insane amount of ventilation. But the big draw to this is this. So this helmet actually comes with a built-in sweatband. Now that's great, it helped a little bit, but for me, I'll tell you how this goes in a second, but for me, this thing is tiny. I've tried skull caps, I've tried headbands, nothing worked. Just because I would always have to go to the bench, take off the helmet, wring it out, put it back on, and I'd have to do that every shift, maybe every other shift, and it got super annoying, still dripping down to the eyes. With a cage, that's just a pain in the ass. Always had to take a towel to the bench just to wipe off the sweat. So if you can tell, it has these two pieces of plastic, these two tabs of or foam, not plastic, and the helmet itself, I think you should be able to tell. There we go. Okay, so here and then here are tabs pretty much cut out. It's just a lack of padding where these match up with, and then you just push them in to those tabs or to the cutouts. Oh, where are you? There you are. Not as simple when I'm doing it for a video. Just like that, and it stays in there. Now, obviously, so I'm going to start off this by saying I know about 99% of helmets don't have this. So we're not going to use my helmet, well, this kind of layout as the example, because I use this, you can tell it's got the two tabs on there mirroring this one, and then I pop it in. But we're going to go over this just like it's a normal helmet. So we'll go over that in a second. So starting off, this is the sweatband it comes with. Just kind of a microfiber sweatband. It's good at absorbing sweat, but you still got to wring it out. If you get, if you push forward in the helmet, you're still getting drips and everything. This is what I use. So as you can tell, just the thickness difference is insane. And surprisingly enough, when I have this in my helmet, if I loosen it up to the biggest that it's at, put this in and then tighten it, it's not uncomfortable. It's super soft, so it's not pushing pressure on the head. This is okay, so I guess bottom line, the hack, goalie headbands. If you put a goalie headband in a player's helmet, will stop, for me, let me preface this by saying may not work for everybody, but for me, someone who would have a drenched bench towel by the end of the game, this has worked wonders. I don't bring a towel to the bench anymore. So we'll go over these in a second. This is the one I use. It's sold on Hockey Monkey. It's I can't remember what it's actually called, but it's a goalie headband, and it's made out of ShamWow. So it's got a ShamWow wrapped around some foam absorbent padding, and this thing absorbs more sweat than I've ever seen. I mean, I never have to take my helmet off now. Maybe sometime in after the end of the second, beginning of the third, when it's actually in the helmet, like this, I'll just push the front of the helmet. It'll wring out the loose sweat, or the excess sweat, and then I can play an entire new third without having to wipe my face again. It doesn't drip out. It doesn't get to a point where it's so full, to a point of absorption where it's so full it just drips out. I've never gotten to that point, and I've gone through hour-long skating sessions, for skills training, full games, never had an issue with this. So that's the big clue in for me, I guess. It's not, I'm not going to call it a secret or a hack, really. It's just I never thought about using a goalie headband, but I looked into them, gave it a shot. Now, it is going to take a little bit of DIYs, and I'll show you that in a second with the other ones. But the hack is use a goalie headband. Incredibly simple to do, and solved all my issues. Alright, so like I said, because the Mission Inhaler has this built-in sweatband with these tabs, I'm going to throw this out for the video for purposes, because I've seen one other person with this helmet. Alright, so these are the headbands that I'm going to be using. Now these come from a company called Monster Goalie, and they're called Cool Bands, Kewl. And the thing about these is you actually have to get them wet to use them, because as you can tell here, very hard, stiff, dried out. Not what you want in a headband, but you get it wet a little bit, wring out the excess water. I'm gripping this and there was one drop. Super loose, super comfortable, and the thing about this material is it seems to, I'm not going to say it cools down itself, but I think with a little bit of airflow, it stays cool. It stays chilled, so it's not just, constantly heating up. Now, I will say the ShamWow headband will absorb about 3 times what the normal Cool Band will, but if you have a little bit of a sweat problem, but your helmet just gets real hot, I would recommend these. They come in 2 sizes. As you can tell, this is the normal, this is the extra large. As you can tell from the cross section, the extra large has a couple more folds of this material than the normal, but they sell a sample pack for like $25. That's what I bought. All these products, I bought them. There's no, look at this setup. Who in God's name would sponsor this or pay for me to? Anyways, so bottom line, bought all these. All right, now let's actually get into it. So, like I said, for about 90% of the people actually watching this video, you're going to have a normal helmet that's not going to have these cutouts for headbands. So what we're going to do is, for these Cool Bands, they actually have a row of female velcro on the back. So what I did was cut out a piece of foam, mimicked this, and then got some male end velcro, glued it onto the foam, popped it in the helmet. So starting from this point, this is what a normal helmet, you'll have to go through a normal helmet. So as you can see on the inside, here and here, those are 2 pieces of male end velcro. Now for a normal helmet, what you would do is glue them into the helmet. You glue them in using Gorilla Glue, whatever, glue them into the helmet. But I will say, you got to think about it a little bit, because I use this, what I would do, my personal recommendation, is put the male end on the headband side, female end of the velcro on the helmet. Because say you are in a hurry. One day you're late to the game, so you just grab your stuff and you forget the headband, right? Say that happens, then you got to play. I mean, the helmet still functions as normal, but then you got to play a whole game with that male scratchy hook end digging into your head. The only reason I put the male end on the helmet is because these headbands have a female end. Plus, I'm very organized, so I've never forgotten one of these headbands. But for any normal person, whatever, I would recommend putting the female end inside the helmet. So if you forget the headband, it's not going to cut in. It's still got that soft texture. So essentially, it's super easy. Once you have these two pieces of Velcro glued in your helmet, now normal, if you're using a normal helmet, you may want two. You may want three with one in the middle, two on the sides. So once you have those pieces of Velcro glued in, I mean, really, all you do is just pop it in, make sure the Velcro is in the right place, and then pop it in, and then you've got a helmet Velcro right there. Then it pulls out. Obviously, those are the tabs I used. But, so this is what it kind of looks like from inside the helmet. There we go. And get that off. Pop those back in. So again, 2 steps to this. Let's just say you're working with this one, right? Say you're working, because this is the one I would recommend for any kind of heavy sweaters. Say I wanted to put this Velcro in this helmet. This headband in this helmet. What I would do is I would cut out 2 squares of female Velcro, the female side of the Velcro, glue those into the front of the helmet, right? And then you line up where the helmet is hitting, right? So, kind of line up the bottom of the headband with the bottom of the helmet. And you can kind of feel or pull this back, peek a little bit, maybe get a pin with you and mark where it's hitting, where the female end is hitting the headband on both sides. So then you pull it out and you have 2 locations of where the Velcro is hitting. Then all you do is take the male end, because the female's in the helmet, take the male end, Gorilla Glue, I used Gorilla Glue, super glue, just attach it somehow to the actual headband, and you're good to go. So you can, obviously you go through the game, this is going to be soaked, I take it out at the end of the game, toss it in my laundry bag, throw it in the wash, when I let it air dry, then should be ready to go. Next game, just fold it in, fold it in, pop it on, you're good to go. That's simple. So that pretty much wraps up the gear hacks video. I've tried to keep this on one take because I don't want to edit, not good at it. Hope that kind of makes sense. I'm going to post this to Reddit, so if any of you have questions, or I didn't explain something thoroughly enough, or I tend to ramble and lose track very easily, so if I miss something or you need some kind of explanation, just send a comment or put a comment below and I'll address it. That should be good to go. So we've got the skates, shins, elbows, pants, and helmet hacks. Hope those help. Again, they're not necessary. They do require some DIY skill a little bit, because I wouldn't, for the stitching and stuff like that, I wouldn't necessarily say it's easy. I stitch a lot. It's kind of a weird habit I have, is just to stitch anything I can. But they do require a little bit of DIY skill. But these are like I said, these I wouldn't necessarily recommend them to everybody, every player. Just players who have problems that I've seen posted a lot. Just make things a little bit easier, a little bit more comfortable, and especially with the headband, a lot more pleasant, a lot more dry. You're not having to friggin' wipe off your shit the whole game. And I think that should be everything. So we're gonna wrap this up. Again, if any of you have any questions, put a comment in the Reddit comment section, and I'll address it. Thanks for watching, guys.